The coronavirus has me at home, so please enjoy a brand new video. I worked really hard to bring it to you, so let's review Sleepaway Camp 2. This movie opens up the best way that you could ever open up a horror movie sequel, with a bunch of kids just sitting around a fire telling spooky stories.
Then suddenly behind her she heard a sound. She turned around and saw her boyfriend Steve with his belt wrapped around his neck hanging from the back of the door. And he was drenched in blood.
I meant the wrong camp.
Wait a minute. Was that fucking Ghost Fake? What's he doing in Sleepaway Camp 2? Go back to Survivor's Guild. Oh. He must still be banished by Frank. Ugh. Well, anyway, it wouldn't be a Sleepaway Camp movie without one of the campers telling the story of Angela.
The owner of the camp, he got it in his neck with an arrow. Well, it ended up that the killer was the shy 14-year-old girl that everybody picked on. Except she wasn't. Maybe.
But this is rudely interrupted by a camp counselor who says, "Bitch, if you don't stop telling this story right now, I won't sing the Happy Camper song." So they bail and the rest of the kids continue on with the story of Angela, explaining that after the events of the first movie, that Angela had disappeared after spending time in a psych ward and then having a sex change. Now, I've heard people talk about how they don't like how they kind of brushed off the transsexual part of Angela's character, but honestly, what did you really expect to happen going forward? It's just a trans person killing people. How did you see that playing into the bigger story of what's going on in this franchise? It shouldn't, and it didn't, so yay. On the walk back to camp, Angela tells the girl how disappointed she is in her for telling that disgusting story. To which the camper tells Angela to fuck right off.
Give me a break. All I did was sneak away from the cabin to be with the boys.
Angela, TC was there and he's the head counselor.
Slut. And then you tell that awful story, scaring those kids half to death. You don't deserve to be at camp. I should send you home.
I don't believe this. Screw you!
She runs away from Angela and gets lost in the woods. And at that moment, she calls out the name Angela, and we piece together who Angela and this camp counselor really is. But before this camper can figure it out, she gets a log right to the back of the head.
Right here.
That's what you get for not obeying your counselor.
Angela leans over her body and cuts the tongue right out of her mouth, double ensuring that she never tells that fucking story again. And this awesome credits come up and welcomes us right back to Sleepaway Camp.
And here's what you get for telling evil stories and having such a filthy mouth. What a bad camper.
Now, something to note about Angela in this movie, she is not portrayed by Felissa Rose, who previously played her in the first Sleepaway Camp. Instead, we get Pamela Springsteen, who I mentioned very briefly in my first Sleepaway Camp review. And I have to tell you guys my opinion, I do think that this is the superior Angela of the two. This does not throw any dirt on Felissa Rose's portrayal of her, it's a very different character. For Sleepaway Camp 1, when we want that young Angela and those roots, that is the perfect person to portray Angela. However, in this older phase of her life, I really like Pamela Springsteen's portrayal of this character. Felissa introduced us to her, and then Pamela Springsteen came in and really made it her own. The credits finish rolling, and we get treated to some nice opening film titty.
What are you staring at?
The campers start to wonder what happened to their missing roommates, and Angela quickly tells them, well, she was being a slut, so I sent that bitch home.
And Allie, I'm sure we'd all agree that you have nice breasts. But I'd appreciate it if you wore a nightgown to bed from now on.
I always sleep in the nude.
Nice girls don't have to show it off.
Bad kitty. The girls head to the dining hall where they meet up with all of the other campers and have breakfast. And Mrs. Free the Nipple from the scene before says some pretty unsavory things about Angela.
Did you hear what happened to Phoebes?
Yeah, tough breaks.
What's the big bad thing she did anyway?
Nothing, just sat and talked.
That's it?
At least while she was with us. God, I thought Angela was gonna kill her. How do you put up with that bitch?
She's not that bad. Oh, come on, Molly. You gotta admit, she's a little bit weird.
Weird isn't even the word for it. I think she's a dyke.
Word police. Word police. Ma'am, we don't say those words anymore. Now, it wouldn't be a morning in Camp Rolling Hills without the Happy Camper song, so Angela whips out her guitar and rocks that place. After this, Angela sneaks off into the woods where she catches the Party Sisters being cool as fuck, drinking and smoking, and doing their own cover of the Happy Camper song. But Angela will be damned if she's gonna let anybody talk about her camp that way, and she gives them a dirty look from behind a tree. She cleverly turns around and heads back to camp, where she starts to put out the feelers, like, hey, where are the Party Twins? I know I haven't seen them. And then she heads back into the woods to make sure that that is true.
Any problems? No problems at all. People went everywhere, it was great. I shot him in the middle of his shrimp. Why the plastic?
I didn't want to get any stains on the seat.
What stains?
I'm sorry, Raleigh. No loose ends.
Now, she kills the sisters by burning them to death in one of the most aggressive anti-drug campaigns I've ever heard of.
You know, it's one thing to screw up your own life, but you also screwed up your sister's. Let this be a lesson to you. Please. Say no to drugs.
If she wasn't such a psychopath, I would say she has a promising career in marketing for truth.
You don't know we die from tobacco. Sometimes you just lose alone. Oh, you don't always die from tobacco. Sometimes they just snip out your tongue. And you won't sing worth a heck with a big hole in your neck. Cause you don't always die from tobacco.
Angela heads back to her cabin where she puts the girls to bed, but the boys have a different idea. Summer love? I think not. The boys storm the cabin for a good old-fashioned sexual misconduct case, which they playfully refer to as a panty raid. But just then, Angela shows up to crack that fucking whip. The girls concoct a plan to get back at the boys, which they successfully pull off until they get caught by Angela again. This bitch is everywhere. Fed up with all of her titty talk, she takes Mare on a long drive where she tells her, bitch, all you have to do is apologize and we are square. You will be a good camper in my eyes again. But Mare tells her to suck an egg. So Angela figures out a way to drill the point right into her head. The next day at breakfast, an announcement is made talking about all of the things that have gone missing from the camp recently.
1 Camp Rolling Hills sweatshirt, 1 blue and white striped beach towel, 1 first aid kit, 1 pair of black Ray-Ban sunglasses, a saw, 50 feet of rope, the battery from my car, a portable electric drill, 10 pairs of panties, 3 bras. We've been a busy boy, haven't we, Rom? And 4 athletic supporters.
And I feel like this is a very easy to look over scene in this film, but I want to talk about it because it's really fucking interesting. Especially because some of the things that have gone missing are Angela's murder weapons, and they're mixed in with the shenanigans of the campers. Like the drill is mentioned, the ropes are mentioned. I like clever little shit like that this movie does quite a bit. Now after this announcement, Molly heads into the woods, where she finds Angela humming to herself in front of a closed off cabin. Which is another thing that I like about this scene in particular, because it has the heaviest parallels to Sleepaway Camp 1. When Molly finds Angela humming in front of the cabin, it's reminiscent of when the camp counselors in the first movie found Angela holding that severed head, humming to herself. I just love those little Easter eggs, and there's more than one in this scene. Angela even goes as far as to talk about Aunt Martha, and she brings up the fact that when she was younger, she was shy, that she couldn't talk to anybody, giving credence to the change in her character. Because Felissa Rose's Angela and Pamela Springsteen's Angela are totally different. For as much of a departure as this film feels from the first movie, this one scene in particular kind of grounds everything together. Now back at whatever activity this shit is.
Gross! Slimy gopher guts!
Look out! Future wild elephant hearts. Dead teenagers' brains. Angela, what's really in there? Dead teenagers' brains.
The boys concoct a plan to get back at Angela's panty-blocking ways. But before we get into that, I want to talk about TC and Angela's relationship, which I think is really confusing throughout this movie. Our first introduction to TC, he is hitting on Angela, like he's trying to swim up that river and shit. But as the movie progresses, it seems like he doesn't like her at all. So which the fuck is it? It does seem like they have a kinship, but at the same time it doesn't. I think that was confusing. Either stick your dick in that fish or let it go, man. It's just a weird game, bro. That's all I have to say about that. I just wanted to talk about it. The boys prepare to get revenge on Angela in a super fucking cool scene that references A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Now this will give Angela one hell of a nightmare.
For a low-budget film like Sleepaway Camp 2, to have these kind of references in there and it not play super cheesy, but instead come off really cool, that's fucking awesome. But as to be expected, Angela finds Freddy Krueger and murders him, with his own glove, no less.
Hey, where'd you find it?
And when she finally tracks down Jason, she is dressed up like Leatherface with a chainsaw and cuts the bitch up.
Anthony? What did you do that for? Anthony? Oh my God!
Please, no! Sorry. Once I start a task, I always finish.
How fucking cool is that? I know a lot of people ride hard for Sleepaway Camp 1, but that scene alone gives the sequel a ton of fucking credence for me. Angela links up with the girls in the woods and realizes that one of her flock is missing. I wonder where she could be. Take it easy. A tender touch is a lasting touch. Angela finds Allie and Allie immediately puts her fucking poker face on.
Why is this door locked?
I didn't want some crazy person to attack me.
Angela, why are you doing that face like you're not absolutely cuckoo fucking bananas? She's talking about you, bitch. But alas, Allie's poker face could only last so long before she is lured into the abandoned cabin by Angela, where Angela literally stabs her in the back. And then shoves her into a porta potty to like drown her in shit and have leeches attack her face. What can I say? It's disgusting, but like, boy is it entertaining. One of the campers starts to get a little bit too snoopy for Angela's taste, and while she's talking, Angela starts looking around the room at different shit that she can kill her with.
He said, sure, I'm sure. Then this man gets on the phone and he tells me Phoebes is still at camp. Well, I was really worried about her, so I told him that you sent her home 3 days ago. Well, he mumbled something, then Phoebes' mom got on the phone. Hey, what are you doing?
Nothing, just fixing my guitar.
Well, I wasn't real interested in talking to her because
Ultimately ripping one of the strings off of her own guitar to strangle her with it?
you talk too much.
How fucking metal is that? And at this point in the movie, Angela is just murking fools. Like, she doesn't give a fuck anymore. She kills this innocent bystander. Why, do you ask?
You're gonna tell.
No more whining.
It is bedtime and Molly realizes that she is the only one who is left in her cabin because Angela has sent everyone home. And we get a scene of Angela sleeping and she's having this weird nightmare sequence where she's recounting all of her murders and it seems like she's having some kind of remorse. Which I don't understand for Angela's character at all. My biggest understanding of this would have to be that just because Angela in the first movie had a weird dream, they wanted to give her some kind of weird dream in this one as well. But I don't totally see how that scene makes sense for Angela's character. Maybe I'm being nitpicky, I just don't get it. Angela gets fired.
You're fired. I'm sorry to have to say this, but I've told you before, nobody is to be sent home without my permission.
Hell, I'm not sorry. Yesterday, I spent the entire day looking for Judd and Anthony. I even called the police. I was afraid they were dead.
What if I said that I was sorry and that I wouldn't do it again?
I want you out of here before lunch.
And Molly's big heart convinces her boyfriend to go up with her to the cabin to try and make Angela feel better. But when they get there, Molly's boyfriend starts to get a little bit snoopy. He heads into the cabin, to which Angela shouts, "Don't go in there!" But it's too late. Molly's boyfriend has ruined the surprise. Angela, not happy about him entering her bubble, starts to beat the shit out of him with a stick. And Molly, outside feeling excluded, decides that she wants to go inside because she doesn't want to be alone in the big bad woods. So she enters through the cabin and finds herself in Threat City by Angela. TC heads up to the abandoned cabin to tell Angela to scram. And we switch back to the cabin where we see that Molly and her boyfriend are all tied up, which is rudely interrupted by TC screaming Angela's name in the woods.
Angela!
And just in time for lunch.
TC enters the cabin only to get a cup of hot boiling water in his face. A little bit of a callback from part 1, maybe. And Angela is officially on a roll. Molly's boyfriend, while tied up, puts it together that this Angela is the same Angela from Camp Arawak. And Angela rewards his detective work by cutting his fucking head off. Molly passes out, and then we see an awesome scene of all of Angela's wreckage in this film. And the props department just did its fucking thing. The makeup looks great. Everything looks... You don't want to be tied up in this fucking... I'm sorry, Molly. Angela's a savage. Angela tries to console Molly by telling her that, hey, look, your boyfriend, he's a movie star now.
Speak of the devil. Look who's on TV.
Before Angela tells her that she's gonna leave for a couple minutes so that way Molly can just marinate in the murder. Molly unties herself and then gives Angela a beatdown. But taking a page from the Good Guy Handbook, Angela gets right back up and chases after Molly.
You just can't keep a good guy down.
Molly slips down an edge and actually hits her head on a rock pretty hard. Looks like she fucking died. And Angela heads back to the camp so that way she can finish this motherfucker. And literally kills everybody in the camp.
Good night, campers.
After this is when we see that Molly is actually still alive, and she gets up and hobbles down a road. Meanwhile, Angela, making her great escape, hitchhikes her way into somebody's car. And this is maybe my favorite kill of this movie. It's so subtle and small, but like, I don't know, here we go.
Everybody's got a vice. I mean, the way I see it, I'm just too dumb to drink, and I'm too fat to fuck.
That shit makes me laugh every fucking time. We see Molly making her way down the road when a car pulls up. And of course, in this car is Angela. And the movie fucking ends. Which is a slight bummer for me, if I'm being completely honest with you. I wish we would have seen Angela kill Molly, or see Molly survive. But I'm gonna get into that in just a second. For right now, let me give you my overall thoughts about Sleepaway Camp 2. I think that this is an extremely underappreciated film, which is saying a lot because quite a few people, while they know it and respect Sleepaway Camp, there's a big number of people who've never even heard of it, never even seen it. So for me to be able to say that this is an underappreciated film is amazing for this film. Sleepaway Camp 2 is a damn near perfect slasher film for me personally. And to be able to reinvent yourself in a sequel film like this is a very brave thing to do. And especially with a movie like this that had such a small budget. I really enjoyed the performance out of Pamela Springsteen as Angela, and the kills in this movie are far superior to the kills in Sleepaway Camp 1. I think that this movie has awesome timing throughout the entire film. Don't get me wrong, there are moments in this that they just go a click too long, like the chase scene between Molly and Angela at the end, or the scene with Molly struggling with her fucking, like, I get that you want to build up that she's really trying to get out, but like, you know, andale, get with it. But beyond that, I think this movie keeps perfect pacing. You don't get too close to any of the other characters in this universe either, so when they die, it's just fun. You want to see them die. Again, I do wish that we kept Molly around just because I like when our villains have a nuisance in their life. The thing with Sleepaway Camp is that you watch these movies and the only character that you really know, the only character that you care about, is Angela. So she does this dual thing where she is the slasher and the final girl. And I don't know, I would like her to have some kind of reoccurring problem in her life. But on the flip side, maybe that's what makes these movies so special. Maybe that's what makes us love Angela and Sleepaway Camp so much. My ranking for this movie is dope as fuck. Have my baby. Sleepaway Camp 2 is fucking awesome. And the entire trilogy is something that you can dedicate a whole day to and have a really good time with. Hell, I'll come over. That sounds like a good day. Now, before I end this video, I want to take a quick time out just to talk about my book, Pentagram. I wrote this book last year, and it's something that I'm extremely proud of. I've been writing this comic series since high school, and last year I got the motivation together to actually compile a bunch of my favorites into a book, and I've been selling it online and at my comedy shows. My book is doing really, really well. I've sold over 1,500 copies of Pentagram, but I figured that I would bring it into this platform for you guys who may not know of it or know how to get it. So in the description of this video, I'm gonna leave my email address, my Facebook account, my Instagram. I want you to fucking reach me. Come at me. I'll even put my Twitter on there. If you enjoy Shel Silverstein or Farside, and you have kind of a dirty humor, then I guarantee that you will like my book. If you're interested, if you want to know about prices, hit me up down below. Times are really hard right now, and I would definitely appreciate that kind of support. And just because, like, I want you to read my book. Like, come on, I worked really hard on it. As always, if you're not already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way you know when my next video is up. You guys have been coming around, hanging out on my live streams. My very next one is going to be at 11 p.m. California time on the 28th, so make sure that you show up for that so that way we can drink, chill, listen to music, have a good time. That's gonna be it for this one. Peace, video creeps.